Hi, guys. I have a fascination with all things weird, mysterious, creepy. I love doing deep dives on topics that I often stumble upon by chance. And I love to tell stories. So, welcome to Sit and Spin. I'll be telling you a different story while I spin using different techniques and styles. And you can join in or just watch and listen while we go on a journey, exploring history, conspiracy, the paranormal, anything else that tickles my fancy. These are stories of the internet, though, so I can't vouch for the validity of them. They're just fun to talk about. So today, I'm going to be using a Romney Polworth cross fleece. I'm going to be combing it to spin worsted. I'll put a list of tools in the description box down below in case you're interested. So let's spin a yarn. So, when I heard this story, I'd never heard of it. In fact, when I saw a reference to it, I went, oh my God, this cannot be true. Well, guess what? It is. The cast and crew of the movie Titanic were poisoned. Yeah, that's right, poisoned. So on April 8th, 1996, the cast and crew, including Bill Paxton, James Cameron, Susie Amos, they were all working in Shearwater, Nova Scotia, and they were shooting the last of their present day scenes for the movie before they moved to Mexico, where they had like this ginormous Titanic boat set built so they could shoot all their Titanic stuff. So they're working overnight because most of that was shot in the dark. Yeah, because that's what we like, movies in the dark. So around midnight, they took a break for what would be their catered lunch. Now, there was a chowder served at this catered lunch. What kind of chowder it was, well, that's open to some debate. James Cameron said it was a mussel chowder. Bill Paxton said it was a clam chowder, and the official police report said it was lobster. Regardless, it was apparently delicious, and many people went back for seconds. Then, everyone who ate the chowder became sick. Susie Amos, who is now Susie Amos Cameron, did not eat the chowder. This led to James Cameron saying, "She's always been high on my list of suspects as a result." Yeah, typical husband. A lot of people did eat the chowder, though. The number varies between 50 and 150, although 50 seems to be around the actual count. This is Nova Scotia. It's known for seafood. So, of course, they ate the chowder. And it didn't take long for the effects to take hold. Set painter Marilyn McAvoy recalled, quote, "The chowder was unbelievable. People were going back for second bowls. After about 30 minutes, that's when I started noticing something was wrong. Everyone seemed confused," end quote. Bill Paxton said, quote, "Some people were laughing, some people were crying, some people were throwing up. One minute I felt okay, the next minute I felt so goddamn anxious I wanted to breathe in a paper bag. Cameron was feeling the same way," end quote. Cameron says a PA summed it up succinctly. Quote, "I feel quite toxic and beside myself," end quote. Cameron, initially thinking the chowder contained a very dangerous paralytic shellfish neurotoxins that can cause symptoms like vomiting, abdominal pain, shortness of breath, confused or slurred speech, well, he immediately left the set and forced himself to throw up. Because, that just makes sense. If you think you've been, ingested something nasty, get it out and get it out fast. But when he got back to the set, quote, "Nobody's there. I'm standing at the monitors near the camera and the room is empty. It was like the Twilight Zone," end quote. Things are just getting more and more bizarre. Actor Louis Abernathy, who didn't eat the chowder, recalled, quote, there were people just rolling around completely out of it. Some of them said they were seeing streaks and psychedelics. I thought it was food poisoning. Really bad seafood can make you hallucinate, and this caterer was big on clams, end quote. So everyone's loaded up and they're taken to the Dartmouth General Hospital, and it was complete chaos. Because these people were, all obviously suffering from the same thing, McAvoy said, quote, we all got put in these cubicles with the curtains around us, but no one stayed in their cubicle. Everyone was out in the aisles and jumping into other people's cubicles. People had a lot of energy. Some were in wheelchairs flying down the hallways, end quote. Cameron, who was stabbed in the face with a pen by a crew member, was sitting there bleeding and laughing, watching his crew fall apart. He said, quote, people are moaning and crying, wailing, collapsed on tables and gurneys. The DP, Caleb Deschanel, is leading a number of crew down the hallway in a highly vocal conga line, end quote. Caleb has never commented on this accusation, but Paxton remembers that there was a conga line, so that part actually happened. So while they're waiting for the results on what they've been poisoned with, because, they still don't know, they just know everybody's losing their shit. So they're thinking this had to be some kind of weird case of food poisoning. So the staff at the hospital had everybody drink liquid charcoal, which detoxifies your system. And, if you've eaten this bad fish stuff, it'll get it out of your system. Sounds gross, honestly, but I guess if you're faced with potentially dying from a bad shellfish, probably drinking liquid charcoal would be preferable. But later the toxicology reports came in and they revealed that everyone had been dosed with PCP. Now, I'm not even going to attempt to say the scientific name of that, but it's also known as angel dust, and it's a psychedelic drug that causes hallucinations, nausea, vomiting, mania, agitation, irrational thinking. It can actually be fatal, and some asshole had put it in the chowder. So Dr. Rob Roy, and yes, that's his real name, he treated several of the Titanic victims, and he said, quote, these people were stoned. They had no idea what was going on, end quote. Dr. Maureen Bakey, part of the province's outbreak investigation team, said officials were suspicious from the start, but, quote, there could have been other kinds of toxins, including plant, animal, or chemical origin. We had a big list of items to go through. However, drugs were very close to the top of our list because of the symptoms, end quote. Thankfully, Gloria Stewart, who played the aged Rose and did work that night, did not have the chowder. Cameron said, quote, Gloria is 87 years old. She could have tried some along with the 80 people who did. I shudder to think what might have happened, end quote. Obviously, the police were called and an investigation was launched. But here's the thing, we're like, what? That was 96, so we're 24 years later, and they still don't know who did it. Halifax police investigated for 2.5 years, getting a list of every person who had worked on the set, but they eventually had to close the case due to lack of suspects. The caterer, well, he blamed the crew. CEO Earl Scott said, quote, it was the Hollywood crowd bringing in the psychedelic shit. I don't think it was purposefully done to hurt somebody. It was done like a party thing that got carried away, end quote. Okay, so I get it. He's trying to, deflect and protect his company. I can't imagine the shitstorm he found himself in the middle of, and pointing the finger elsewhere, is just human nature. Cameron, however, believes he knows who did it, and he doesn't really think it was his wife. At least, not publicly. Though he's never named names, he did fire a crew member the day before because they were causing problems with, wait for it, the caterer. Cameron said, quote, "So we believe the poisoning was this idiot's plan to get back at the caterers, whom of course we promptly fired the next day. So it worked," end quote. So no one was ever charged for this crime. The cast and crew had a rough trip of a different variety, adding to the legend of the curse of the Titanic. Thankfully, no one was seriously injured or died due to petty revenge. And it's just gone down in the annals of history as one of those things. So like me, maybe you learned something new today. If not, I hope you enjoyed a great yarn. Join me next week for another sit and spin and a new topic that I haven't decided yet, but it'll be fascinating. This was just a quick short one to, test the concepts and see if anybody's actually interested in watching videos like these. So if you do, do the stuff, that button down below, or leave a comment, or if there's a topic you want me to delve into, you can leave that in the comments, and we'll try some other stuff next week with another new story. Thanks for joining me. Keep spinning. Bye-bye.